as the crypto market is being volatile, moving up, down, creating a lot of confusions. Right now, we are all looking at whether XRP can skyrocket. But before we jump onto that one, now we will go through in detail of some of these and discuss through what you can literally see in technical analysis. It actually gives you much more advantage. So now, yes, you'll have to break through and see what is going through, and don't give up on me. I'll try to break this down in a way you understand that properly, right? So before we begin, you need to know that tomorrow is going to be a big day, right? So if we understand this correctly, look at the bottom where we highlighted that quantitative tightening program can be paused, which means in between they can do quantitative easing to ease the economy, and that's free money, put it into a technical terms. So now we are going through this. We need to actually see why these are important. We'll take you through that. When a CBDC arrangements testing different networks actually suggest you different names, don't get confused. There is a lot of different version for this, but at the end, this is not Ripple putting this one, right? This is CBDCs, governments, they are doing this. And that was the main reason I would say Ether moved to POS, so that they get the advantage here, saying like, okay, we reduced 90% of our consumption. Now, why is that so important? You look at that from IMF, you look at that from the CBDC projects, corporate banks who are participating in those, and it's kind of clear where we are headed. So yes, on a short term, you are looking for this. There's zoomed in view, it's a 2-hour chart, super volatile. But keep in mind, you broke that first level, and most likely that trend line, you are going to test that one, close to 0.42. Now, we talked about this last time. Now, why is that important? Because this is against the entire market. This is what you're targeting, and this is what's the revenue per year, what you're kind of looking at. And all of this will only increase with the inflation. Now you have to spend more, now you have to send more. So that all is coming in. So we are going to actually break these down in a way we are on the same page. This is a scientific investor family where the normal common retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of the world. Now we will start doing this, but before that I would like to highlight like the talk about MCBDC project being successful. All of those are coming out. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. There's a lot happening in between. There's a lot happening inside. I've actually went through a lot of documents, spending a lot of time reading through that. And what I can say now is that it is really interesting. If you are an XRP holder and the Ether guys is mocking Eddie saying, okay, you see this? Wait, there is a lot happening in between and beneath the ground. After going through all these documents, some of these are really long. Some of these are like, crazy long. So when you read through this BRS documents, Deloitte Bank, wherever you go, you kind of get that understanding of what's coming. Because they all give you a little bit of hint, because the settlement mechanism, they kind of goes through different structure, and every way it ends on one point. And that, when you look at it, yeah, here in this big list, you don't get XRP Ledger a lot. And not with the big countries of central banks. But when you see this here, Hyperledger or Quorum, which is like Ether based, then you see this Ether and then Coda, then again Ether. What's happening there, right? There is a lot of XRP involved even in that one. Don't worry. We'll go through that, but most likely not in this video. In this video, we are trying to look at the price action. Say this is XRP price action, right, on a 3-day chart. So we are trying to see like, okay, if this is a ABC correction, which is done. Now, why is this so important? Because when you are looking at this, you need to understand one thing. Downside, first A, B, C. But within this A, this is the first area which we are looking at now. First one. right? Then we'll go to look at this one and then this phase. Why is that really important? Because if you are literally looking at this, say on a daily, to see more volatility, so that you kind of get that wave structure clear, let's use kind of 3 different colors. Say like this one here. This is your macro uptrend where you're going up, the green, and this is the corrective trend, the black. But within that black, you get a red, blue. What are those? When you are correcting to the downside, your impulse is to the downside, and impulses here on the red is actually giving you different stuff. So right now you zoom in and you go and try to look at this. When you're dropping, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's the wave. When you're in a corrective trend, like the big ABC, now this is inside that to the opposite side. It's A, B, C, right? And then again, you assume for the C leg, inside which you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you repeat this pattern, so that's over there. Great. Now, when we come back on the XRP side of this, we try to put like, okay, you take a red one here. We want to actually see how this goes. So you are looking for the first leg down, then a bounce. It reaches this level. It's a little bit lower than the last one. Then you drop to a new low and consolidate there. Great. And then again, you drop lower. So if you actually try and name this, this would be your, let me put this, it won't be the best one. This is your 1, this is your 2, this is your 3, then 4 and 5. So now that's your impulse is done. Now inside that, when you are bouncing, the next one, which is of interest for us, is a different impulse, which is only 1, 2, 3, and it's done. It reached that top. Great. So it does not actually give you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure. It's a corrective wave. It actually gives you a ABC pattern. Now, as you zoom out, you'll get a lot more volatility here, because from this range, now we are going back to the red again. You drop once, you reach this range, and then you go up, you drop again, then you come here and capitulate. Now this capitulation was really heavy. You dropped hard. Now you zoom here and you look at this. This one was not bad. It was also hard. You dropped way lower. Now, if that is true, then what we are looking at here right now is this phase where you are trying to create a new trend, and a lot of different assets you are trying to do that. But it also has a lot of similarities to that of this one here. So now you look at this range and ask that question like, am I watching this one? You go up, then you do this, you correct down, and that correction gives you like a curved bottom here and like a typical capitulation, which you actually got here, right? And when you break that one to the upside, in this case, you literally came back to test this range and then bounced. Fine. So if we put that structure here, we are somewhere close to 0.4. Now what we want to know is how high we are going. Because as we break through this, now we are talking about 1 and the next leg 2. So this one becomes your wave 1 short term. So it is important for you to actually look at this and say like, okay, wave 1, 2. Now I won't pick this one because this here was the SEC issue, all those coming in, right? If not, it would have been this one. So now when you are looking at this, you kind of get that idea. Okay, that is what we are talking, meaning you get the impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, after which you do the corrective wave A, B, C. So going back to this VRA one, you'll actually see like, okay, you are dropping A, B, and C. The first leg down, the A, it's the downside, that it's a corrective wave, so your impulse is to the downside. Inside that, you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whereas in a corrective trend, so here your major trend is to the downside, your corrective trend is to the upside. That one is a ABC pattern. It is over there. And after that, you resume your downward trend inside that macro ABC, which looks like this. Great. So here it's like A, B, C, a major macro stuff there. Now, I have a little bit of cold, so don't give up on me on this one, right? So A, B, and C on the macro. Inside that, we are trying to break these stuff. A, B, C. Then you go back up. Then A, B, C. So if you actually put a long, big line here, let me see. It will look like something like this. A big one, you go up, you come back down. Now, if you have seen the talk which I have highlighted from the Credible Crypto, he was literally talking about this possibility. The A, B, C, the B can sometimes make a higher high than the A. You have the flat structure there in Wyckoff, but in the way, if you look at that, that comes here too. That we think that's a distribution, but it is not. And you kind of enter into this range. So now if you actually take all of this out and look at this one, you're like, okay, what the is that? There's a lot of fluctuation. That is one of the reasons why we actually try to see like, okay, what's happening right now. So on a short term, yeah, XRP has, this move up. We did all good things. Short term, right? You had a run to the upside. Now what we are looking at is a break here. So most likely you are here. You had, okay, we'll do on a same range. This is your horizontal level where you went up, you are now consolidating, and that consolidation, inside that, each time you drop, you make a lower low, you make a lower low, you then happen to break lower. So this one should be here. Great. Now, if you zoom in, you're getting something similar here. You drop, you actually do the same structure, you drop, you do this, and then break lower. Now, when you are there, now the question is, okay, how long do we have to the downside here? So if this is, in case, this one, you're looking at what was the measured move here, which was like 8%. And then what was the measured move here? That was shorter. So we are looking at a capitulation area where it feels like ABC. Now we are looking at this one. This was like 4 or 5%. So what we are in fact looking at is another 5% drop, say close to 0.43. So I would then go back to the question like, okay, does that actually click something? We are breaking through this short term where this one intended to be a new pattern. But then we are going back to a long one here. Now remember, this is a 2-hour chart. So if you want to draw that trend line, you should be on a higher time frame. So inside that, when we try to load this one, it kind of feels like this. So if you're breaking here, now your major support zone becomes here, close to 0.4. Now that's going to be really healthy for a lot of people who wanted to buy here, come back and buy at this range. Because one thing which we have to keep in mind on a short term is this is a high, this is a higher low, great, but this one right now feels like it's a lower high, great. And that lower high, if it creates a lower low here, continuing down, we want to see that as an ABC because that trend changes because your impulse is like this. Now, why is that important? Because when you actually, now let's jump on a 4-hour, get that idea here. It's a little bit clear that way. You get the first wave, you get the second one, then you get the third one. So you're done. Short term, huh? This is short term. It's really confusing to do the stuff on short term, but stay with me. Now, when you're going down, you get A, B, and C. Now, we want to see where that C ends. Mostly the support is still here. We can stay there, range. Fine. So inside that one, again, when you put this, you see like, okay, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's done. And A, B, C. So what we have discussed here on the macro, you can see that on the micro too. But the difference here is it's super volatile. There's a lot of noise. It's going to be really hard. Right? I'm trying to do this because in our Patreon, we had a discussion and one of my members was showing in 12-hour and I was like, okay, I usually stay with a daily 3-day like that. But I'm like, okay, even this is okay. Just you need more time to grasp those volatility and make sure it is appearing on the same trend. But with XRP right now, the benefit here is like, okay, we are following a trend. So when trend is your friend, it's a little bit easier. But again, that means you may come to 0.42 or 0.41. Now, if not, it's actually a great thing which we are bouncing. But the general market here is still volatile, moving up and down, up and down. But remember, you have some assets which are starting to trend higher, which are showing like, okay, I can have a breakout. I'm going to run higher. Right. On that note, when you are looking at the market, you also have to see like the money coming in is now slowing down. We had seen days where we got $1 billion a day, $2 billion a day, and right now it's slowing down. So either people who wanted to buy already did, or the new money coming into the market is completely slowing down. So you want to see like whether people are moving out, people are coming in. When people come in, it's actually a good news. It's something great what we want to see. Then you come down to the demand side of Bitcoin to see what's happening. And you see like, okay, this is also slowing down. Bitcoin moving to exchanges is dropping. So people who are holding this asset are slowly increasing. So right now, if you think about that, Bitcoin moving to exchanges are dropping. So in other words, you are holding that in your wallet. So if you really want to sell it, most likely you won't keep it in the ledger. You'll move it to a different exchanges and drop it into the market. Great. So in that note, when you go back and look at Bitcoin to see like, okay, if that's the case, can Bitcoin really bounce? Now, we are literally waiting here to see like, okay, can we literally have a bounce? Right? Can we make a double bottom pattern here, which is still a possibility because you did not break this particular level. Now, with that information, if you try to add on the wave structure here to look at like, okay, is this a corrective trend? If so, we will follow the impulse direction, right? Here, this is your impulse direction. This is where you're actually going, right? So on a macro, what you will say is, okay, this is a B, C, big drop correction. Now inside that, what we are looking at is like, okay, this pattern, this particular leg down. Inside that, okay, delete that. Look at this. When you are moving up, you get ABC. Great. This ABC here is something which is similar to the last 1 year. You have a top, but again, you go make another one and then drop. So this one got us excited, but what happens? You get to go back down. And when we are going down on that note, you take this, you get one, then you retrace a little bit, then you drop, then you retrace and drop. So if you count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that impulse of the last leg down, which is C, is completed. That's actually a positive step. And afterwards, you are not actually observing a trend like ABC here at the bottom. It is a little bit different. So when it is different from that one, the possibility is that a new trend is starting, or at least the market is trying to look at the possibility for a new trend. Now, yes, we need a bounce. Yes, we need a breakout of this range to get the confirmation. But when you're in a market where you feel like, okay, the ABC correction is done and you're starting a new trend, at least in XRP, it is looking like we are starting a new trend. You want to be in that asset which is at least starting a new trend. You don't want to be in a lot of different assets, but make sure you follow assets which have something similar like XRP. Say, for example, this particular big channel, you are close to the resistance or you have already broken higher. There are some assets like that. We've been discussing that on the Patreon. And if you look at that, it gives you that advantage to understand, okay, this one, in next 3 months, in next 6 months, have a higher odds than the others, right? You are here to make money. So guys, if you're receiving value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. And remember, in the next video, we are going to break this down because it will take a long time and I'm already observing comments like, okay, the videos are already long. The reason is I try to explain in my way and sometimes it's long. So I'm not making this even longer here. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.